Good morning. This is Attorney Karen Jimeno. Some of Quezon City's elite living in New Manila are raising an issue over two sports facilities that were put up in their community, allegedly without public consultation and with clear disregard of existing zoning laws. We'll dissect the heart of this controversial issue here at the forefront. In the quiet streets of Barangay Mariana in New Manila, regarded as residents to some of Quezon City's old rich, a storm brews over the construction of two sports facilities that residents claimed were approved without transparency and proper consultation. Allegations of abuse of power and disregard for zoning laws have fueled tensions between longtime homeowners, barangay leadership, and city council. Can decisions made behind closed doors truly reflect the will and welfare of the community? With us this morning are two members of the Mariana Neighborhood Association. First, we have Robby Raymundo, whose house is near the Jump Recreation Center. Good morning, Robby.
Good morning, Attorney, and good morning to your viewers.
Also with us is the president of Mariana Association, Pacifico Sanchez. Good morning, Amang.
Good morning, Attorney. I'm the president of Zone 14.
Zone
13, I'm sorry.
Okay, Zone 13. So let's talk about this first Jump Recreation Center. What is this Jump Recreation Center and why has there been opposition to the construction of this recreation center? Can anyone tell us? Like, ano ba siya?
Well, Jump Center, it's a recreational sports center that is open to public. And under the R1 zoning rule, you can, in fact, put a recreational center in an R1 area, provided it's not for profit. Mm-hmm. Okay? But aside from the controversy that followed the Jump, they had no building permit, they had no business permit, and they were so bold to operate, despite the fact that we in the Mariana Neighborhood Association had been telling them to stop until we were able to get a cease and desist order. Yes.
But paano umabot sa point na naka-operate sila without all the required permits? Imagine building permit and business permit.
Yes.
And I'm assuming, di ba kailangan mo yan to issue receipts? So wala rin silang na-issue na receipts? But how were they even able to build without showing a business?
That is actually a mystery to us also, you know, until the resident like Robby, who resides beside that, complained about the noise that it produced, and at the same time we tackled that in one of our regular M&A meeting and investigated it. That's the only time we found out that there was no building permit, business permit, so forth and so on. Only a barangay clearance.
Wow. How long did it take for this recreation center to be built?
Actually, it's very quick. If I'm not
I think we're
mistaken.
looking at it. Is this the building behind? Wait, like kanina may pinakita. But is it large? Like how many floors?
I think it occupies around a 700 square meter lot. They
big.
built it during the pandemic, and they started operating 2023. So they've been operating for 2024. So they've been operating for almost a year. And as Amang has said, no business permit, no building permit, and no occupancy clearance at all. So totally no. And they've been operating it as a commercial establishment.
Okay, that's really baffling. Like,
baffling.
to have all of that without a permit. So were you able to get to the heart of the issue and find out who gave them the barangay clearance? Like,
well, of course.
I mean, obviously it's a barangay, but you
Obviously
know,
it's a
like,
barangay,
yung paano nila nalusutan lahat yun?
We really don't know. It puzzled us, no? Okay, but I'd like to mention, Jump did not get a clearance from the Mariana Neighborhood Association.
And it's one of the requirements in your neighborhood?
Well, in a way, because we work in tandem with the barangay. Mm-hmm. You know, when there's a construction, even a house, for instance, the barangay gives the MNA the plans to investigate if it's in conformity with the zoning laws. Okay, but it never happened in JAMP. So there was no MNA clearance, so to speak, or permit.
So all of this investigation into the existence of permits was done by your homeowners association. That's how you were able to uncover the lack of permits.
Well, we uncovered when the neighbors started complaining.
And have you gone to any government agency about this?
We had a dialogue with the Department of Human
Settlements,
Human Settlement,
yes.
yes, a while back, about at least last month. They were trying to, they requested that. They were trying to request the MNA, to permit them, on conditions that, one, they will just do a private membership thing, all the other that is stated on the law. But
Okay.
we said, we cannot do that because you operated initially even without an MNA, just a barangay permit, no building permit, no business
Were
permit.
they able to explain that since they were called to a dialogue with the
Yes,
SUD?
it was the contractor.
Explain,
Yeah.
contractor.
The
How were
contractor
they
promised
able to
them.
explain that?
The contractor promised them that he will take care of all the requirements. Then they were also surprised when the issue was blown out. Why don't we have a building permit to begin with? Why don't we have a business permit? The contractor is actually part of the organization. He's also an investor.
He was also an investor, but he knew of the lack of permits.
As a contractor, he should.
Yeah, exactly. So, what type of penalties are they facing for the lack of permits? Because under the law, they should be subject to penalties,
Yeah.
especially if you
Correct.
build without a building
they can be
permit.
charged criminally.
Exactly. So, wala bang ganung
Wala pa so
initiative
far,
na?
we have not heard, but I told them during the dialogue, in fact, the building official can even charge you criminally for, building an establishment without the building permit.
Yeah, have you called the attention of the building official to this?
We have done, but I think they're well
DPWH
aware
could-
of it. We will follow up in a few weeks or something, what had happened with the closure.
Okay.
Cease and desist.
Well, there's a Facebook live clip of Barangay Mariana chairperson Bong San Miguel regarding Jump Recreation Center.
Okay.
Let's watch this.
I have protected you. I have saved the residential area of this place. Before I sat down, it was already bagsak. At hindi ako papayag dahil yung inyong editor, 1963 lang. Ako, 1960, lola ko, 1947. Dito na sila nakatira. We were never gated, you liar. Save Mariana. Parang save from the devil, from the destroyer. Parang papakita ko sa inyo lahat ng hinarang ko, lahat ng ginawa ko. Para lamunin ninyo. Tinan natin. For that jump, akong sisisihin nyo. Ba't hindi nyo sisihin si Letty? Siyang ikot ng ikot. Ba't hindi niya pinalam sa akin? Yung binigyan ko ng clearance, algawa na. Pero may condition sila. At hindi pa yun permanent. Ito tandaan nyo, clearance. They have to go to the city. Okay? Ngayon, pwedeng yan. O di ba? Napasara, di ba? Dahil wala silang mapakita. O ngayon, inaayos sila. Pag nakaayos sila yan, go at la kayo. Sorry, wala na ako doon.
Okay. What is the barangay chairperson saying when she said na we were never a gated community, it was already bagsak?
Well, we were one of the first gated community. I think after the war, it's in the Wikipedia, no? Then eventually, kasi if you're gated, you have to pay for the streets, the taxes, the real estate, right? So we transferred that to the city government, then we have to remove the gate. So that's not true. We were one of the first gated community in Metro Manila, okay? But however, under the DSUD, and even the HLURB, you don't have to be a gated community to have a homeowners association. Okay? So it doesn't mean you have to be gated like DASMA or Forbes Park to create and establish a homeowners association. So what the barangay chairman said earlier is that true. Initially, she's been there for I think 30 years or so. We had no problem with governance. You know, she was able to remove some of the squatters in 7th and 6th Street. But it's only lately that all these issues has surfaced. You know, she has done a lot. You know, honestly, she has done a lot for the
agree.
community before.
So she's an effective barangay chairperson.
yeah.
Okay.
Previously.
Oo. So ano na yung mga issues na
Like what Amang was...
sinasagot ni Bong today?
Yeah, I'd just like to share the way I interacted with her, and in fairness to her, when I started talking with her regarding the Jump Recreational Center, she also shared what she did, and I agree with most of those. I mean, in her past 30 years, she did a lot for Mariana. She stopped commercialization. She fought for. I mean, there were a lot of commercial or even buildings that were trying to get permits and everything. So she really fought for it. In fact, I think sometimes with danger to her or own personal safety. So she also told me that there was a time she was kidnapped actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So in fairness to Kap Bong, she did a lot for Barangay Mariana. And what we are now, I think credit should be given to her as well.
So sino bang bumabatikos kay Barangay
hindi,
Chairman Bong? Bakit siya
No, hindi naman
sumagot?
binabatikos. Sorry to interrupt. Hindi naman binabatikos, but it's rather yung mga mga last decisions, later decisions.
So ito yung
Itong
dun sa
Jump, itong Mariana Sports Hub, just this, yung mga later decisions that were being questioned.
Sino ba si Letty? Because she
That I
mentioned
don't
na...
know.
Letty is a kagawad that was in charge of construction. May mga committee sila to look into an application for clearances in the barangay. So the proponent submits plans, specification. Then Letty, being an architect, is a concurrent kagawad, looks at the plans, okay, even before, and gives the approval for the barangay to issue that clearance. So they can bring it to the business building official.
But help us understand this. May kasalanan ba si Letty or responsibility as to why Jump ended up being constructed without the approval of the homeowners?
I'm not privy what Kagawad Letty reported, so I cannot speak for that issue in terms of Kap Bong trying to put the blame to Letty.
Yeah.
So, but again, even granting the report does not conform with the building. She, as the head of the barangay, should not have given the clearance, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm also assuming now what Letty reported was everything is in order.
But don't you require proof or the documentation? Hindi ba nila tinitignan yan before they give the clearance?
Yeah, well, it's Letty na who was in charge at the time. You know, she has the plans, specifications, setbacks, height. So it's all in the plans, no? So I am assuming now that Letty reported everything is within the, ang dami kasing ganyan within the zoning law, but after construction, wala nang setback, wala nang
hindi na
easement.
nagko-comply. But normally, someone checks on that even during the construction process.
Yes, Letty does that.
That's why siguro
kaya nagkaroon ng
natatawag
then,
nagko-call
I
out si
guess
Letty dito.
Kap Bong issued that clearance basing on the report of Letty. Kasi if Letty reported, hindi, mali ito, the height is not, the setback, there's no easement and all that, then Kap Bong should not have issued that clearance.
So out of curiosity, Robby, you live near this sports hub, yung
Jump
particularly
Recreational
Jump.
Center.
Ano ba yung reklamo nyo about it? Apart from the fact na eventually na-uncover nyo nga kulang ng permits, maling-mali talaga yon. Pero yung just its existence, why were you complaining?
Simple. You previously lived in a residential neighborhood, very quiet, very peaceful. When Jump opened, there are three things that happen. Heavy traffic, noise,
Barking,
and of course, a lot of outsiders coming and going. So let's get first to noise. they operate Monday to Sunday, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. So you can just imagine, they were claiming they're soundproof. It's a lie. So you hear the whistles, you hear the shouting, you hear the sneakers. So noise. So imagine Sunday morning, you want to sleep a bit late. And 7 a.m., people are already shouting, whistles, referees. Next, parking. 6th Street is a very narrow street. So, and it's a through and through street. So you can get to Balete, to Hema. So there's a lot of cars coming and going. So when they use up one side for parking, you can just imagine the traffic that was being caused. When I informed Cap Bong on this, she did act, she warned them and everything. So for a while, they behave and everything. But bottom line, you cannot, when you have games every hour, so they claim to have parking slots inside. It's true, they have parking slots inside, but it's not enough.
Yeah,
So
there
if-
are requirements under the building code as to
Yes.
how much parking based on the size of the facility. Would you know kung nag-comply sila?
I'm not privy to it, but they're just claiming 14 parking slots, which I think is not really true, because parking overflows outside. And you can just imagine, even if the first set of players are parked inside, the next set is coming. So they're all waiting there. Result, traffic. People, cars that are passing by are irritated, so they honk their horns. So that's one. The third is, of course, you introduce a lot of new people. I mean, they even have Paliga from Cavite. So what's that? So it's a drastic change from what we knew before and what we wanted for our neighborhood.
Okay, and some 250 residents of Barangay Mariana wrote a petition to QC Mayor Joy Belmonte. This was dated November 25 last year. And the QC Business and Permit Licensing Office issued a cease and desist order on Jump in April of this year, 2025. But the cease and desist order is only temporary.
Correct, yes.
And it's, according to the dates, it's only good until May 30, 2025. Would you know if this was extended? Because we're now talking about July. Has Jump reopened?
Speaking of that cease and desist order, when they were issued that order, they violated it.
They were
You
still
mean,
operating.
nag-open
They were
pa
still
rin.
operating.
Okay.
They were still operating. Only when MNA called 122, Quezon City LGU, they came and warned them that this will be padlocked if you continue to disregard.
Very bold.
Very bold, very bold.
Did you ever figure out who owned this establishment to be that bold? Meaning to construct without the permits, to operate without also the necessary permits, and
Well,
then
we
to
hear
not...
rumors, but we haven't really confirmed it. Okay.
What were the rumors?
I don't wanna somebody who's big shot, so forth and so on. But during the dialogue with the SHOD, the president and I think 2 or 3 other board members were there. You know, I forgot the name. Sorry, you know, but you know, they were really appealing to the neighborhood association to allow them on the condition that they will now follow what is in the law. It will be a membership. It will be but we told them, you know, you already violated and lost the trust by doing what you did previously, right?
Did anyone ever go to the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, to check on their corporation papers to see kung sino yung mga owners?
Ay mga owners. I think one of the former kagawad, Trixie, I don't know if she has that copy of the SEC. I think they have researched that also, but I don't have that with me now. Yes.
So you still don't know? Kung
We still don't know
the
if they're
people
really
behind this.
legitimate behind it. Yes.
And the only thing we know is a group of investors. So it's a big, I think a relatively big group.
Big group.
Yeah.
Has anyone gone to the courts to file any case against this establishment?
No, not yet.
But do you have plans?
Well, if they persist on operating, granting they were able to, assuming they were able to get a permit, okay, a business permit, and they paid the fines for the building permit that they failed to get, then we will pursue that.
Do you know of any area in your neighborhood that this would be a better fit for, yung na magkaroon ng recreation facility? should they agree to relocate, is that something that Mariana Neighborhood is open to?
No, we're not. Kasi recently, we had a dialogue with the proponent of the same recreational center in Hemati. At least merong dialogue prior to even constructing or applying for a building
This
permit.
is the other sports facility.
No,
out
this
of-
is a
Ay,
new
iba pa
one.
to,
A new one.
Okay.
Recently lang, a month ago.
Yeah.
So we were called to have a dialogue. Sabi namin, no, we cannot. Because if we allow this, how can we prevent others from, building recreational centers, commercial centers? This happened in the Scout area, di ba? It used to be a purely residential center, okay? And eventually it became a commercialized, which
Yeah,
we don't
marami
like.
na ring restaurants doon.
We
Is
do
that
not like
something
to
you don't
happen.
like?
Oo, we do not like to change the character, the residential character of Mariana. Oh.
And are you speaking on behalf of a consensus in your neighborhood na ayaw nila mag-commercialize?
Yeah, we are.
No one has benefited from Jump Recreation Center. Like, wala bang kahit isa man lang na positive feedback about having this recreation center in your
Wala.
neighborhood?
So far, we haven't received any. I don't know with.
No, nobody's petitioning na we want this.
Okay. Well, it looks like the major difference of Mariana Sports Hub with Jump Recreation
Yes.
Center is the fact na nakakuha ito ng Certificate of Exceptions sa LGU. But before we elaborate on this issue, let's take a short break. At the forefront, we'll be right back. Welcome back at the forefront. So now we're talking about the second sports facility. So kanina yung Jump Recreation Center, you were saying it got to construct without the permits and then it started operating without the permits. But now there's another sports hub also within your neighborhood, the Mariana Sports Hub. This sports hub was able to get a certificate of exception naman from the council.
City Council.
Were you in favor of having the Mariana Sports Hub?
No, we're not.
No.
We're
And
not,
so
at
how
least.
was it able to get a certificate of exception?
Well, when I talked personally to Council Irene during the subdivision and homeowners forum done last May 17, during the break, Benson and I approached her, and we requested for a meeting at least with the council or other members of the Barangay Mariana, or homeowners association. And she said, okay, before I step down on June 20, we will have because we were telling her, look, councilor, you gave a certificate of exemption without even a public hearing, done by the barangay, done by the MNA, okay? And of course, the city council should have at least asked the barangay or the MNA, which they gotten all these clearances, where's the consultation? Where's the attendance? Where did you do it? Something like that. So he promised, okay, well, we'll hear the members of the neighborhood association, but it never happened until she texted me. She will just turn it over to the next committee on zoning once June 30 or the new council already becomes
Well, the picture that we have here, and kanina it was playing in the background of the Mariana Sports Hub, it's quite big, like malaki siya. So, nung ginagawa siya, considering that you said walang consultation, weren't you able to intervene before it was built? When you saw that the construction had already started and you were not consulted?
Well, I'm not with the barangay, but if Letty was still in charge of the committee on construction, I don't know if she ever went there and even kasi she attends once in a while yung mga MNA meeting, When we learned about it in the council, we investigated it. No? In fact, we were investigating, we went there, or one or two of the council members went to the business building official office and asked about jump. Okay? It's not really about the Mariana Sports Hub. And they were surprised to learn the only time there was already an exemption for Mariana Sports Hub.
Okay.
Okay?
So, paano nangyayari yung mga surprises na ganyan?
Well,
diba?
yun na nga eh. Oo,
Wasn't
eh.
there
But
like a
siguro,
process?
lapses din ng barangay or the committee who heads the committee. Why in the first place it was started, although if you see the resolution that was approved, I'm assuming again, no? It says here, the structure of the proposed facility is in compliance with the National Building Code. Okay? So I assume on paper it is. That's why it got
Merong they complied with the
they
permits.
complied. Oh,
Yeah.
ganun naman eh, no? On paper they but eventually they violated the height, they violated the setback, and siguro just to be sure, because when the M&A finds it, might as well get a certificate of exemption para wala nang magawa sila. Parang ganun.
Well, the QC Zoning Administration Unit has reportedly rejected
Yes.
Mariana Sports Hub's application,
Application.
which was received by the barangay on
Barangay.
February 21,
Correct.
2025. But a barangay resolution granting the clearance for Mariana Sports Hub was signed also on the same day.
In the afternoon.
In the afternoon.
Yes.
What's your take on that?
Well, why withhold the report of the zoning administration unit? Okay, so there's some, I don't know. I mean, there must be a reason why. Okay.
Oh, nga, what is the reason?
Well,
But ano,
probably
if you were to be straightforward about this, ano ba yung, what is your reading so far?
reading
Because-
is that there were a prior arrangement already with, I don't know, it's so hard to label, the arrangement or whatever. But again, if you were transparent, okay, nothing is above board. I mean, everything's
will be
above board, okay?
board, yes.
When they receive it in the morning, even before the signing, that was actually a resolution day, you should have given that to the kagawads,
You mean yung zoning administration
Yes,
unit's
report.
rejection?
Oo. So, by not giving that, it's a big question mark. Why?
Well, it sounds like parang more than a coincidence na dalawang sports hub that your
Yes,
neighborhood was
yes,
opposing
yes.
was able to build, construct, and then operate within your area despite the opposition from the neighborhood. Saan nyo nakikita yung lapses dito? Is it at the barangay level?
Well,
or
I guess
the
it's
city
the
hall?
barangay.
Saan?
It's ultimately the barangay who has the authority, okay? The HOA, the M&A, only gives also a clearance for the barangay to be able to make sure everything's also okay. It's like a additional check, although there's Letty there as the construction head committee, they give it to the HOA for approval. But again, the problem with HOA, this is not unlike any other ordinary residence. It's a commercial establishment. The chairman, Halandoni, should have at least asked the council, there is this, but he gave that no objection because he admitted because he read the R1, recreational centers are allowed. Probably not thinking na it should not be for profit. Okay, it's in the law, ordinance, but and also.
So, kung mag-convert ba itong Mariana Sports Hub, theoretically, and the Jump Recreation Center into non-profit recreation centers, would you allow them to continue operating in your neighborhood?
Well, if the law allows that, I wonder if they will they will allow just, investing millions and just for membership. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Oh, so we cannot do anything if they, if they follow the law, the ordinance. But again, I'm really skeptical about that. Okay.
We invited Councilor Irene Belmonte, the Quezon City's 4th District Committee Chair on Planning, Building, and Zoning. But she said she had a schedule in Tagaytay today, so she couldn't make it. But she did respond to questions at the forefront. So let's discuss. Well, first, we asked her, Barangay Mariana is a residential zone. On what grounds were the sports hub given exemption and allowed to operate? And she said that her answer was so we have the answers here. I think you can read it from behind you. There is an existing zoning ordinance that allows for deviations through the application process for issuing a certificate of exception. What is your take on the existing application process for deviations to the zoning ordinance?
Well, the only time, even on the report of the zoning administration unit, I think they refer that they need a certificate of exemption since they have a violation of the zoning and all, the plans, the height and everything. They need. It was suggested from the Quezon City Council, which is actually and again, what we are trying to tell Councilor Irene, how come if you are giving an exemption, why didn't you ask the barangay or the MNA, was there any public consultation under the local government code that will impact the community? Okay?
And that's required, yung public
That's required,
consult-
yes. It's in the local government code. So I think I told you earlier that we even asked her the reason why Councilor, why was it approved, that exemption? Because there was no public hearing.
Well, we asked her this question. Did you take into consideration the QC Zoning Administration Unit's rejection of the Mariana Sports Hub application on the grounds that it is a commercial establishment?
Okay.
And her answer was, in this case, the Zoning Administration Unit first issued its observations prior to the application for a certificate of exception. This matter was then brought to the attention of the City Council to reconcile the ZAU findings with the COE application, following the usual process for addressing a rejection or adverse comment from the ZAU. So, well, ito yung pinag-uusapan natin kanina. It was done on the same day, no?
Yeah.
So, it appears na nakuha naman nila yung copy ng rejection report.
Yes.
But they said that there was a reconciliation that was done.
With whom? With the SAU, with the SAU.
Yes, certificate of exemption. So, do you accept this process as...
No. The process is actually public consultation, public hearing.
And yun yung sinasabi niyong kulang?
Yan ang kulang na dapat, kasi there are several Supreme Court decisions, okay, overturning LGU certificate of exemption because there was no public hearing.
Okay, so that's really the
That's just the
main
crux of the
flaw.
matter, the flaw.
So the other question we had was, are there claims that some residents are clamoring for such facility?
We don't.
If so, is there a written document to support this? So, Councilor Irene's answer was, a resolution of no objection from both the concerned barangays and the duly registered homeowners association, such as the MNA, is generally sufficient to indicate that the proposed facility is acceptable to the community. So,
That's true. That's true.
Totoo ba yun na?
Totoo yun. Both the barangay and the MNA, without the consultation from the council, even the council itself, the homeowners council, the chairman issued that no objection.
Kasi nag-issue talaga.
Oo, provided, although in fairness, provided it does not violate any zoning laws. Okay? So, nag-violate na rin eh. I mean, why pursue it? Di ba?
Yeah. So in this case, there was a certificate of no objection.
Yes.
Pero walang kinalaman yung homeowners.
Yung council, walang kinalalaman doon. Nag-issue lang ang chairman.
Pero kung may no objection, na-consult din ba kayo about that? Like, were you,
No.
you didn't have...
We only learn after, when this
After
thing
na.
blew up.
Okay. And then, we also asked, what public consultation did your committee undertake regarding the exemption given to Mariana Sports Hub?
Okay.
And her answer was, the committee considered the resolution submitted by the barangays and the homeowners association. We also formally invited them to the hearing, but they chose not to attend, indicating that the resolution they submitted serves as their official
There was
comment.
no invitation as far as I know.
Wala talaga.
Even for, at least for the council,
Okay, so I guess in this case, M&A was M&A invited to the committee hearing? Wala talaga.
Wala.
Okay, so given all of this, the lack of consultation, what's next for your homeowners association? What do you plan to do next? But before you answer that question, we'll have to take a short break. At
Yeah.
the forefront, we'll be right back. Welcome back at the forefront. So now that, Amang, you said that this was all done without consultation with your neighborhood association, what's next? What's the next step that you're going to take?
Some would like to pursue it all the way to the courts. If that certificate of exemption will not be rescinded or repealed or whatever you call it, in law. Because now we have another resolution from the Kagawads, repealing Resolution 29, which approved Mariana.
When was this date of the
Well,
resolution?
wala pang date actually, very recent to, but it was signed by 5 Kagawads, majority. The one who signed, Leti Tejido, Dizon, and Lydia Sia, categorically stated that they were never informed and or shown the copy of the letter from SAU office, which the barangay and the punong barangay San Miguel on February 20, stating that the said project was in violation of the zoning and building laws. So ngayon, gumawa sila to repeal it. Kasi majority rin to except Victor Lorza and Rochelle Koo did not sign it, but still majority. So, pass yan, di ba? So, yung tatlo, including Victor Lorza and Rochelle Koo, who did not sign before, signed this resolution repealing the 29. Okay? Kasi, sabi nila, baka mademanda kami niya pag nag-file ng M&A ng, di ba? Bakit yung inano yan?
Yeah.
Without any consultation, without any...
So are you interested in filing a case?
We are going towards that.
Okay. But a lot of people might say that this is a local issue. So ano yung aral na makukuha ng mga tao from your experience as a neighborhood?
Get or elect a more responsible barangay captain and an M&A chairman.
But is that just the issues here? Sila lang ba yung responsible? Like how...
Well, they're the ones who issued the clearance, for that matter. Well,
So
not
was it
for,
their
for
job
Mariana
to-
Haba, not
yeah.
for Jump. Mario did not issue anything at all for Jump. It
Yung
was
Jump
only
was
the barangay.
okay. Jump was really the one that was able to operate
Yes,
without
yes.
any of
except
the
the
permits.
barangay clearance.
But it still goes to the barangay.
It
Na
goes to the
paano
barangay,
nakakuha
oh.
ng clearance and
Oh.
without all the
In
permits.
fact, now, okay, sige, go ahead.
Yeah, so to continue the Q&A with Councilor Irene, we also ask, and this is our question number 5, no one from the Barangay Mariana Association trustee was invited for the public consultation. Why is this so? And she said that the Mariana M&A, Mariana Neighborhood Association, Homeowners Association President, has already issued a certification which indicates that the necessary community consultation has been conducted regarding the matter. Is this correct?
No.
You
No,
never
no consultation.
No
We
consultation.
Even the council will never, we're never,
But was there a certification? She's mentioning here a certification that would indicate that there was a necessary
Public.
consultation that was already
It
conducted.
was just a no objection to the proposed, construction on the building, provided it will not violate the zoning law. In fairness to Mario, yeah.
Okay, Mario Halandoni,
Halandoni, yes,
who is
Atty.
the
Mario.
president
The chairman
of
of the council of the M&A, yes.
of the Homeowners
Homeowners,
Association.
yes. Oh.
But is that also usual to issue a certificate of no objection
Yeah.
without a consultation?
No, it's not. It should not.
So dapat nauna yung consultation
Correct.
and
Oo.
then certificate
Dapat
of no.
pinag-usapan muna sa council, like any parliamentary, di ba? You should get the consensus. At least majority of the council would say, yes, we'll approve it. Pero wala
Okay. Well, when we asked about that issue also on the public consultation, Councilor Irene also said that earlier this year, we sent a formal letter to the MNA, again to the Neighborhood Association, explaining the reasons behind the exemption. However, further action has been delayed due to the council's recess and the unavailability of committee members during that time. She also issued a statement saying, I have informed a member of the MNA Homeowners Association that we can still convene a grievance committee hearing and endorse all relevant reports and documents to the incoming chairman of the Committee on Zoning. This matter may also be escalated to the Zoning Review Committee formed under the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance for appropriate action. So, who was this MNA, like the MNA Homeowners Association member that the former councilor was referring to?
I think it could be me and Benson Sian when we talked to her during the break of the forum, because we told her, councilor, can we at least meet informally, the council and other members who wants to talk to you about why this exemption, was granted without public consultation. The letter that she was referring to, I never read that, as a member of the council, She said she gave a letter to the MNA Council, the HOA,
Yes.
explaining why they have granted that certification. I have
Yes.
never read it. I don't know.
Would you know kung meron kaya silang ibang
I will ask the
pinagbigyan?
secretariat.
Okay. Well, now that she said that you can still convene a grievance committee, is that a remedy that you're interested in having?
Okay.
Okay.
If they have this kind of process, even if the certification have been issued, then we welcome that. So we will trash out all, our objection, our grievances, and all the other that went into the process of granting that exemption.
Okay. And is Councilor Irene Belmonte related to Mayor Joy Belmonte?
I think parang sister-in-law, if I'm not mistaken. The husband, the newly elected, who used to be a council also, replaces Irene. Siya nanalo ngayon eh. Oo, number one na.
So yun ang incoming
Yun
councilor
ang
that
incoming
Irene
husband
is
niya.
referring
Yes, oo.
to.
Yun ang nga pinamis niya
Okay.
sa amin eh.
So are
Saka
you going to discuss with him as well? Like have a dialogue
Well,
with...
sabi niya, i-endorse niya eh. I don't know if the husband will head the committee on zoning, But she even thanked us na nag-number one, at least sa Mariana, si Councilor Belmonte ngayon, yung husband.
So if you have a chance to speak to either Councilor Irene Belmonte or the incoming councilor who's her husband,
Okay.
what would you like to say to them?
Well, like what Councilor Irene said, we hope they can convene this grievance committee thing, So everything will be lay on the table, and then, of course, for them again to decide whether to repeal or rescind that certification because there was no really public hearing para hindi na umabot sa court. Hindi ba?
Para hindi umabot sa
Oo,
court.
kasi, kasi it's a long process, di ba? Gastos yan. But, some of our council members, sabi niya, we will do everything if there's no relief as far as the council is concerned. We will have to go to the court. May nagsabi ng ganon. Let's do it, sabi niya.
And what is your message to the national government for everything that happened? Like yung mga nakalusot na nag-construct and nag-operate na walang permits.
During the that forum, I wrote a request because with the ordinance now, it's only the barangay who is really going to give the clearance, di ba? HOA parang although they give the clearance for the barangay to be sure it's okay. Sabi ko, make it an institutional mandatory. HOA rin dapat kailangan. Hand in hand, they work eh. Hindi lang eh. And sometimes, if the barangay, is not good. In other places, nawe-weaponize yung pag-i-issue ng mga, di ba? O at least the HOA, hand in hand, kailangan din ng HOA, hindi lang barangay. Ngayon, barangay permit lang ang meron eh. Ang ginawa pa ngayon, there's a new EO ng council or ni Mayor Joy, hindi na kailangan prior to the construction, prior to the application of the building permit, you don't need a barangay permit. It's only after 6 months, within 6 months, that's where you apply the building permit. So hindi tinatanggal, hindi na prerequisite yung before you apply for a building permit, dapat may hawak ka ng. So that's dangerous din, di ba? What about the bonds? Kung may sinira ka dyan sa harap mo, what about all these other investigation, compliance? So medyo di ba? Medyo parang hindi rin tama ata.
Well, thank you so much, Amang and Robby, for being here today, and I hope that you find a resolution to this issue.
We hope and pray na everything will be settled to the of the majority. No? Ganun man tayo talaga, no? If the majority wants to allow it, why not? Wala tayong magagawa eh. Pag ayaw
basta may
talaga,
proper consultation.
Yes. Di ba?
And Robby, okay lang ba
Yes.
sa'yo? Ikaw yung malapit sa Jump Recreation Center. Would you be okay with following the majority kung sabi nila nandyan?
I guess my only comment is let's follow the law.
The law.
Let's follow the law. If the law is enforced and followed, who are we to object to it?
Okay. Thank you so
Diba?
much
Okay.
again for
Thank
your time
you, Atty.
today.
Karen.
Thank you, Attorney.
The Mariana Neighborhood Association insists that local council decisions granting exceptions should reflect the collective will of the community, not just a few in power. This controversy highlights how essential it is for governance to truly listen to and respect the voices of the people it serves. Be timely informed, be insightful of the news, always stay at the forefront. Join us again tomorrow for an interview with controversial Congressman-elect Joey Uy of Manila's 6th District. This is Attorney Karen Jimeno. Thank you for spending your hour with us.